Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon at Grosvenor. We're here today, or this afternoon, to announce a formation of a new super promotional venture, a joint venture between my son's company, Queensbury Promotions, myself, and Bill Ives, one of Britain's leading businessmen, have agreed to work together to make make big promotions, huge promotions in this country, put them together, give the fans what they want, to develop young fighters' careers, to bring them along, guide them into a situation where they can fight for world titles and hopefully give them their big challenges here in the UK. Bill, I've got to know quite well over the last couple of years. He's a maniac boxing fan. There's no other word to describe him. From that former amateur boxer himself, loves boxing, loves the game as we call it, and he basically was a big supporter of Box Nation when he started and has continued to be, and is a significant investor, and will be a significant investor into the channel. He and I talked about this situation regarding the promotions, and we felt this was the way to go. So as a result of that, we formed this alliance. It's an exclusive alliance between all of us, and I'm quite sure of all the people on board that we're going to do some great things for British boxing and hopefully world boxing. It's great for British fighters. I think it's great for British boxing in general that we've got somebody with Bill's acumen, with his business sense, and he's I'm not blowing sugar up his backside at the moment, but the fact of the matter is he's a very, very successful businessman, probably one of the successful businessmen in the UK. Through his various businesses, including RAINHAM Steel, which is a British success story. So we feel that what we're doing now is going to become another British success story, and it's going to be, as far as we're concerned, one of the best in the business. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a great challenge. I've ceased my involvement with W Promotions. We put that into administration last week, so that's gone by the wayside. And we're moving forward with this venture. This is a fantastic opportunity for all concerned, and I believe it's a fantastic opportunity for young boxers. This is going to be the place to be. Box Nation is going to be broadcasting all the fights. This is going to be something extra and something special. And I can't tell you how enthusiastic I am about this new venture. It's going to be a challenge, but it's a challenge with people who are involved, who are very, very capable in doing what they do in their various fields. And I feel that we've got the great team here. This is the A team of boxing, and this is where we are going forward. We're going to deliver the best and be the best. Bill?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree with everything you say. I think it's a wonderful opportunity. Dedicated boxing channel. I think it's what we need. I think we just need to get it out there more, so people appreciate what's going on, and we just need to get more people signed up for it.
And that's the objective. To put these fights on, that means that people are signed for the channel. It means that more people will watch Box Nation. It's a dedicated channel. And I've got to say, if it wasn't for Box Nation, Sky wouldn't be doing what they're doing in boxing. There's no doubt about that. We revitalised the sport. Absolutely revitalised it. We put great fights on. We continue to put great fights on. A fabulous show on the 21st of September at the Copper Box Arena. You know, good fights, young fighters, fighters who've been there, may have done it, who may still do it. There's a great assortment there. But at the end of the day, I know we've got the correct formula here. This is the way forward for us. This is the way forward for Box Nation. It's the way forward for Queensbury and myself. And as I say, it's going to be great. George?
Firstly, you know, on behalf of myself and Francis, we're delighted to welcome Bill to Queensbury, to be working with him. It's an honour and a privilege to work with such an astute businessman. We feel we've learned a lot off our dad over the course of the last 2 or 3 years that we've been running shows. We've got an exciting show coming up on the 21st of September. Billy Joe Saunders and John Ryder topping that, a purse bid that was won by Queensbury. From there on, we just want to kick on. That's it. More fights, more fighters, better fights and better fighters. And as far as I'm concerned, it's fantastic news, and it's something the channel and anyone involved in this sport, especially in this country, should be very excited about.
Richard, chairman of Box Nation.
Thank you. Absolutely, and just to echo what my colleagues have said here, Box Nation has grown pretty well over the last. It's now coming up for its second birthday. It's achieved what we wanted it to achieve. I think we put on a really strong schedule of fights, both from Frank's stable, George and Francis's stable, and from internationally as well. And of course it's the quality of the fights, the quality of our schedule that really determines how successful we're going to be as a channel. And we really now feel that after 2 years it's time to kick on. We've done what we wanted to do in the first 2 years, but we're ambitious for the channel. We're ambitious for how effective and how popular and how attractive that can be to our core UK audience. And when we've really put on the big fights, and we've had some huge highlights on Box Nation over the last 2 years, people have watched the channel, people have come on and subscribed to the channel. So we know the audience is there, we know the demand is there, we know we can do it. What we need is a strong promotions business that's going to feed us the fights we need. And so that's why today is such an important announcement for all of us here, because that really gives us what we need to make this work, to make this kick on and to go where we want to go. So we're really looking forward to that. We think we've had a good couple of years so far. I think we're going to have a fantastic couple of years to come with the promotional strength that is the people around me here, and with Bill's business skills and resource behind it as well. I think it's a fantastic combination. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to go on. And so we can really make this really something, I think, with the UK fights that are going to be generated out of this, and we've seen how popular some of those names are in the UK. Together with our international offering, we've got Mayweather Alvarez coming up in a couple of weeks, so we can feature the best from around the world. We have great coverage, we have a great talented set of people in the channel, on the programming, behind the camera, in front of the camera. So we're looking forward to it, and I think as well as in the UK, we can take this channel into other territories as well. We're talking to international distributors. So the future's taken a big step forward today, and I'm very pleased to be part of that.
Just say one final thing before we let you guys ask questions. And I think what everybody's touched on it, we're coming up to our second anniversary, and what we've done in those 2 years is really grabbed the boxing audience's attention. Our job now is to broaden that, to get the casual viewer involved, to put the big events on that get national attention, and that's what we'll be doing now. And as I say, with Bill's involvement, that's going to help us in a big way to make sure those type of promotions and fights are made. So that's our plan, that's our business plan, to broaden the base of Box Nation, to turn this into one of the most successful subscription channels. It was at one stage the fastest growing subscription channel in the UK, and we've got to now move it on to the next level, and that's what we're looking forward to doing in our third year, coming up to our third year of existence. And a lot of people said we weren't going to be there after 6 months, but here we are, pushing on, knocking on with great support from a lot of people, a lot of shareholders, a lot of investors, great staff, great people who've been involved. I look around the room, there's a few of them here now, they've been absolutely committed. Everybody's committed to make this work. We're either is committed to make it work, or we're going to get committed. One way or another, we're going to make sure this happens. This is a fantastic channel, and it can only get better. And that's the direction we're going. Anyway, I'm sure some of you may have questions to ask. If you do, please feel free to do so. Yes, Tom.
What's the level and the nature of the association between the two of you? Is it per fight you'll come together and sort something out? Is it over a period of time? How does it work?
It's an exclusive arrangement between the two of us that we look at each individual promotion and decide how we wish to move forward on it. But, I won't be working with anybody else. So whatever we choose, and we're looking for the big shows. I mean, obviously we've got the smaller promotions going on, but those smaller promotions are about developing young talent. But the big shows are about obviously generating the revenue to ensure those fights happen and generating the interest that the people will subscribe to Box Nation to watch them and obviously make them profitable exercises.
Can I ask Francis and George, when you left school and university, was your plan always to come into the boxing business with your dad?
No, I got dragged in. No, I dragged him in. It was a natural thing, I suppose, talking for me. I went to university, did 4 years there up in Manchester, left there, got my degree, went out and worked. I did a couple of years, just under actually, with a commercial sports agency. Dad worked very hard to set up Box Nation. It was set up and it was a natural thing for me to do. There was no way I wasn't going to get involved in this from the start. Boxing's in our blood, and I think I speak on behalf of Francis as well when I say I think we'll probably be in this for a very long time.
I didn't want to be in the business, by the way. You know that. I made that very clear. I wanted to be doctors or lawyers. But
I kind of banged the door down for a couple of years, trying to get in, and I've been involved now for 10 years. I've learned the business, and I think George went to university. I did my apprenticeship, and when it was Sports Network, and I've just enjoyed every development. Along with Box Nation, it's just it's very exciting for everyone involved. I think as well the massive benefits as well of this is going to be the young boxers that we're going to be bringing through. Guys like Georgie King and Josh Leather we've just signed. They're coming in at an amazing time. Exposure they're going to get and the backing they're going to get is going to be second to none. And the biggest benefactors is the fans. I'm really excited about it.
Right. And we got one on the bench over there, Henry.
Right, speak about big shows in Box Nation. Is that more about signing more fighters, or are you talking about beating them into other countries?
It's both. I mean, obviously, it's a boxing channel. You can only do a certain amount of shows in the UK, and we're very conscious of. We have been over the years bringing in fights from big shows in various parts of the world. The Mayweather and Alvarez fight's an example. That's without a doubt the biggest fight in boxing this year, involving the most high-profile boxer in the game, in Floyd Mayweather, and we'll continue to do that. But again, my background is developing UK talent. My background's been about delivering that, and I'm going to advise my two boys in their capacity as the bosses at Queensbury in continuing to do that. It's very exciting times. And, there's nothing better for me than finding young talent and developing them and bringing them through. And I look over the years, blow my trumpet about it. Like about Ricky Hatton. We brought Nassim Hamid through, who couldn't get arrested at one time. We brought him through as a big and better thing. Joe Kawasaki, so many fighters over the years, and that's what I think that's our forte. That's what we're good at doing. And where we are now is to actually we can offer a whole package. So it's not just about here is we will promote you and bring you to this level. It'll be we will promote you and you'll be televised. We haven't got to go cap in hand. And I don't want to upset any former heads of sports or anything in the room, but we don't have to go cap in hand to any TV channel. We are the TV channel. We're the major shareholders. So we'll make the decision what fights we want to put on. And not only are we the shareholders, we're both, or all of us I should say, we're big fans of boxing. So we're committed to putting on the best fights, bring them in from around the world. And you can't, nobody can argue over the last couple of years, if it wasn't for Box Nation, all those overseas fights would probably gone under the radar. And we delivered them. We've shown them, the fans have got to see what the best from around the world, and some of the best fights in the UK. We'll continue to do that. It's been very tough over the last 2 years, both financially, I suppose physically and mentally in some ways for us. It's been very, very tough. I can't think of a tougher time ever that I've had in business. But, we've got through it. As I say, we're into our second year, as we said before. We're in that position. And we have thought about what we need to now take it to the next level. And that's why it's very important today that Bill's here. You know, as George said, he's one of the most astute businessmen you could meet, successful businessman. You know, he's not reliant on anybody or anything, and he's involved in this now, and he's committed to it. So I think that's great for the sport. It's fantastic for boxing. It's fantastic for, not just for Box Nation, it's fantastic for every boxer, because what we're doing, what we continue to do, is create competition. And when there's competition, it means that the boxers get benefit from it. There is, you know, no matter which way you want to look at it, you know, Sky have their boxing department, we're a dedicated boxing channel, they're a sports channel. But at the end of the day, there is competition there, and that's great for the fans, and it's great for the boxers, it's great for everybody concerned. And from my point of view, I've never shied away from any competition. I love it, I love getting up for it, and that's what keeps me going. And as I say, from my point of view, I think that this today, I think it's a real landmark in our promotion business, and certainly a landmark for Box Nation.
I talk about major shows, which to me means 20,000 seater arenas. It's very, very difficult to fill those arenas. Would you be prepared to bring in, shall we say, 2 top Americans to top the bill in a 20,000 seater arena and put your talent on underneath it?
I think we'll do whatever's necessary to make it work, and I think we'd also, but it's got to stack up financially. I mean, there are times when, you know, and I've done it, I've run shows and lost money on a show because I'm looking at what's going to happen, you know, what's going to be the next level, what's the next step, and see the long-term goal. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, we are in the business of absolutely delivering the best. That's what we want. You know, we're not in the mediocre business. You know, I think we've all got a bit too much about us to what we want to be at that level. It's about being the best, it's about putting on the best shows, and that's what we've done.
Did it start with the Copper Box show? Is that kind of
Copper Box show is the start, yeah.
Frank, you said W Promotions went into administration last week. So
Yeah.
who are you training as at the moment, and what does it mean for the arrangement you had with Hatton and McGuigan and Maloney and that?
Well, the Hatton McGuigan's relationship is with Box Nation, it's not with W Promotions. The W Promotions was owed quite a considerable amount of money. That's one of the reasons we did what we did. But the most important thing is, and you asked a very valid question there, you know, it's all about what we're doing going forward. And that's what we're here today. We're going, you know, it's not just us. I think Natural Boxing went into administration last week. Oh, sorry, went into some form of...
They wound it up.
They wound it up last week. So, you know, these things happen. But the fact of the matter is we owe a considerable amount of money. But where we are now is about going, from my end, working through Queensbury, with my 2 sons, and Bill involved, and that's where we are, moving forward on that.
But certainly the arrangements with Barry McGuigan, Ricky, etc., not affected at all. In fact, we've got a fight with Barry coming up.
Barry's fights in Cardiff,
Frampton,
Frampton.
19th of October.
Yeah. Who is on the verge of fighting for a world title, so he's another guy that's suddenly going to, you know, he'll jump through it. We've got some great young fighters. I mean, you know, everybody seems that, you know, just, it was terrible happening to Nathan Cleverly a couple of weeks ago. No one was more, the second most disappointed person there was me. First was Nathan. And it was a disappointment, but that's what boxing's about. It's 2 guys, anything can happen, and it happens. You know, but I've been there as a manager and a promoter on so many occasions, and it's about continuously bringing guys through on that conveyor belt. And we've done that successfully over a long period of time. We've got some fighters fighting on the Copper Box. You know, Frankie Gavin's on there, undefeated. Billy Joe Saunders, you know, Paul Butler. And there's quite a few others. We're all going to be on the verge within the next year or so of fighting for world titles. And I think there's a couple of them there who are a little bit special and will win world titles. I mean, Frankie Gavin, I'm not saying I gave up on it, but 6 months ago, 7 months ago, I thought, hang on, he's just not got it. But he's clicked now. He's suddenly, you know, the penny's dropped with him that what he needs to do in boxing to ensure that he's a success happens. So he's dedicated. And I think that showed in his last performance. He looked brilliant. So would I match him tomorrow with Amir Khan? I don't think Amir Khan should be fighting Devon Alexander in December on Box Nation. I think he should be fighting Frankie Gavin. It's a great fight. And I hope he wins. I hope he beats Alexander. Because what a great first defence that would be. That's a real good fight. Kelbrook, no problem. Frankie Gavin can fight him in a heartbeat. All these guys. Remember, we've made offers to the other side on a lot of fights, and every one of them they've turned down.
And relation to George and Francis, how many shows are Queensbury hoping to have over the next year?
There's about 20 odd shows, isn't
Yeah,
there?
it's 20 odd.
I mean, it will be gauged on the size of the shows. Obviously, we're doing the 6 at the Copper Box. Within the amount of dates that we do, we've obviously got to make sure that the stable of boxers are getting work, and you know, we're adhering to their contracts and they're out fighting regularly, which is what it's all about, and progressing them as talents. You know, if I could, I'd do 30 shows, but it'll be down to Mr. Chairman here to tell me what the budget is, and we'll work it out. You know, Dad's pointed out many times this is a team effort. We'll all work it out together, and we'll make sure that everyone's active and put on all the shows that the channel needs.
Well, what we have got, and guarantee that we have got, is a stable of fighters that are ready to go. And we've got, you know, the amount of quality fighters capable of fulfilling, you know, 20 odd dates a year. So, you know, for me, you know, I speak to the fighters almost, you know, on a weekly basis at least. And you know, they're banging the door down for fights. So, you know, that's just what we're here to do, is to put quality fights on for, you know, for subscribers and for people with, you know, put their bums on seats.
Bill, what convinced you to get involved in this project, and what made you think it would be an overwhelming success?
Why do I think it will be an overwhelming success?
Yeah, what convinced you to get involved?
Well, I'm interested in boxing. I think a dedicated boxing channel there's a space for it. I think there's definitely a place for it. I think boxing is a very popular sport. I mean, next to football, it's probably one of the most popular sports. More popular than, say, women's tennis or netball or whatever. And I think there's a definite place for it on the television, showing all the old fights, new fights, up and coming fighters. I think it's a great interest to me, and it's something we can get involved in and make a big success of. So it's exciting from a personal point of view and from a business point of view. I think it's doing something I like doing, getting involved in, seeing boxing. It's great sport, bringing on young people, encouraging them. Great sport for youngsters. And does that answer your question, really?
Frank, did you have to do much persuading?
Bill?
Yeah.
To start off with, yes, to be honest, it was, when I say persuading, it was, you know, it was a couple of years ago, but, you know, he was there and he stepped up to the plate big time. But the fact of the matter is, he's got, you know, he's like me, he's a boxing nut, like I suppose most of us involved in the sport. And I think where we are now is that 2 years on, everybody can see now that you know, this is a really viable situation. Something can be, you know, there's a serious end game here, and I think Bill as a businessman has seen that. And I think that's why it's so exciting, and it excites me even more the fact that, you know, he is involved. You know, he's probably one of the, you know, he's in that group of British success stories, and he's done it the hard way. Comes from a sort of similar background as myself, you know, sort of off the sort of street sort of things. You know, he's an amateur boxer. He's quite a good, you know, he had quite a good get something through, and you know, and I think Bill's more, you know, more of a, obviously I think he's obviously more of a astute businessman than I am, and I think that's why it'd be a decent combination. These two guys here as well, one two boys, you know, they thankfully take more after their mother in some ways than myself, to the fact that they are more, you know, they'll hold back a bit more. Me, I'm sort of blinkers on, go for it, get it over the line, kick the door down, whatever it takes. But that's not always how it should be. And, but I think the combination of all of us here will make it work. And we've got, you know, in Box Nation, chaired by Richard again, you know, he was involved in floated Sky TV in the early days. You know, I don't think I'm telling stories out of school. If you look back, was it 20 odd years ago, Sky TV, if anyone read the book of the development of Sky, they were that much from going under. until they did the deal with the Premiership. I mean, they were really that much from it all going, the whole empire collapsing. And we're in a situation where we've got 2 years down the line, and we've got, you know, we feel that we're just getting to our Premier League moment, and that for us, I think, is exciting times.
I don't know if I should ask Frank or George this one, but I mean, you've spoken in the past about wanting to do more grassroots shows, you know, small hall shows. To what extent is this about doing big marquee events? And to what extent is this about actually putting on more shows around the country and actually marketing the whole concept to a grassroots audience, if you like?
And just as Dad said, without the small shows, you don't get the big shows. You've got to invest. You've got to put on regular boxing to bring the talent through, so they can eventually make the step up and fight in arenas and box in front of crowds that make it, you know, economically viable to put on those big shows. We've got to invest in boxing talent. That's what Box Nation's done. I mean, people have got to remember with Box Nation, before it was there wasn't this revenue stream that it's created. I mean, off the top of my head, its turnover over the last 2 years has been about 25-30 million pounds. The predominant majority of that has gone straight back into boxing, and the majority of that's gone into British boxing. You know, without that, I'm sure Sky would still be doing what they're doing, but there would still be this gap in the amount of money that's been created in the last 2 years. And for me, now that Bill's involved, especially in even more of a partnership way, there's more investment to be done, and the only ones that are going to develop and prosper from this is the boxers themselves. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. It's great.
And the fans will get the benefit by watching it.
What was your reaction to Sky's international boxing lineup for the next few months?
Well, let's get it right. They weren't involved in international boxing for a couple of years. They pulled out. It's because of us they're in there. And that's about competition. I think it's fantastic. Again, it's fantastic for the fans. You know, we've got our deal with Queensbury, Salmon, and a few others that are in place. And you know, I just feel that all, you know, what we're doing now is it shows we were right. You know, you must see that yourself. I mean, all these shows that are coming in there are fantastic for the fans. And ours is £50 a week, £2.50 a week. I mean, boxing news costs $3.75. For reading the old news, you get brand new fights like £2.50.
It's finished in a minute.
Sorry. Well, yeah. No, the point now is just. But the fact of the matter is, it's tremendous value. And what we're also doing, you know, by the end of the year, I'm sure Richard can elaborate more than me on this, is that we'll be launching our second channel, HD channel. So there are a lot of things happening, a lot of things, and again, that's all about investment. It's about, you know, what Bill brings to the table to help make these things happen. And that in itself, you know, tells you this, you know, that we're going the right way. There's going to be 2 channels up. Box Nation will have 2 channels up, HD channel and the existing one. And that's, again, is I think, a sign of where we're going to.
Can you divulge the number of subscribers you've got?
We could do.
You're not going.
Thousands and thousands, tens of thousands and thousands.
Richard, what was the Mayweather and Canelo fight? What's that done to the subscription? And has it been as dramatic as it did with Mayweather and Cotton?
This will be the 3rd Mayweather fight, I think, that we've done. We always see a good reaction. I mean, he is such a star, such an attraction, and probably the best known name in world boxing. The way our subscribers tend to come on, you can see a definite sort of movement in an upswing when we have a big fight like Mayweather. We've had probably half a dozen fights. Obviously, the Chisora was the biggest one yet. Outside of that, we've probably had about 4 or 5 where you've seen a real discernible rise. But it tends to come in around the day. So People will come in sort of, a couple of days before. There's still that sort of pay-per-view sort of thing about it, where people
Same mentality.
Same mentality. When people think it's pay-per-view, it's not pay-per-view, it's subscription. So you should probably come in, on a sort of couple of weeks before and watch the build-up as well. But there's still a bit of that pay-per-view behaviour. So we won't really know what the sort of the full effect of the Mayweather-Alvarez is until really the night itself. We have to actually. The early signs are good, encouraging. We've also had, for the first time, we've been working with BT Sport, so BT Sport is showing the access shows as well.
24/7 shows.
24/7 shows. So that will broaden our appeal and our base generally. So that's good. Virgin Media, I know, have also been very supportive with this. They've been promoting it to their cable subscribers. These are the sort of real meat and drink of what we do. We want to have these sort of big events on. Not just twice a year. We want to have this on every month. As often as we can. So again, very much part of this whole discussion we're having here, this whole development we're having here, is at some stage Mayweather's going to retire or whatever, or go to jail or something. So we don't want to be dependent on just him. We want to have a really good stable, and particularly British fighters as well. So I think there's a few that are coming up that will be bigger for Britain than Mayweather is, as an international star.
Are there any more questions? Are we all done? Lovely, thanks very much, and hopefully we'll see you in press conferences leading up to the Copper Box show. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Alison.